Hi, this is Jürgen with the second lesson in the FIBO education course, Semantics for Project Architects. It's about understanding the business content and leveraging the design for solution architecture. The FIBO and FIBO are the industry standard. The financial industry business ontology, the FIBO, is the blueprint for enterprise ontologies and the knowledge graph. And 3,500 users downloaded the ontology-derived financial industry business data model already. The education course covers the model structure, concept hierarchies, and the transformation process. The education course is for data architects, stakeholders, and ontologists. As a project data architect, you know how to do data modeling, and you want to copy design patterns for your department or application database design. And as an enterprise data architect, you know industry reference models, and you want to customize the standard for your organization. And finally, as finance business users management, as a stakeholder, you want immediate return on investment. There's an ontologist responsible for operational and enterprise ontology design. You want to understand the FIBO module. Well, monsters. Many in the room on the call, I think, came across multi-year, multi-million dollars failures creating an enterprise model. Some comments on FIBO called the 3,000 entity data model the world's largest a monster. And that is a misconception of both the financial industry business data model and ontology. Quite on the contrary, you can leverage the industry standard as a reference model, facilitating common names, definitions, design patterns, and reference data across the enterprise. You can scope the enterprise model to an appropriate size. And you can use iterative development cycles like Spiral or Agile, harvesting tangible benefits for project from day one. So my argument is that an encyclopedia like the Britannica can't be too big. I'd rather have that than my first dictionary with the rocket, balloon, and ferry. And the analogy is here, when in doubt, look it up in FIBO. Now, however, it is a fair point. No, irrespective of the notation, whether we look at an ER model or ontology web language, rationalizing the complete industry standard and customizing it for the financial institution is a Herculean labor, and I don't recommend it. Yes, so the vision is immediate return on investment, using the reference model as an encyclopedia of building blocks, leveraging the design as blueprints for solution architecture. And with that, we have the ROI from day one. And the way to success is a two-pronged learning approach. That's the key to the industry standard. So enterprise architecture typically focuses on the 15 concepts and associative hierarchies, top-down understanding the model. Whereas solution architecture looks at the FIBO packages, the FIBO modules, for the project, like loans or securities, not the whole model. So it's a business-driven education course. Now the enterprise architect rationalizes the model, traversing the 15 concept hierarchies, associative entities. The project data modeler wants to copy blueprints and designs for specific business solutions. So looking at individual packages here, like for mortgages, and then copy the design to create a smaller, to scope a smaller model. So the project solution track teaches the business content in detail. We deep dive into packages relevant to your project. So we have an iterative development process, as in spiral model or agile development. No? So determine the objective, analyze, develop and test, and plan the next iteration. So as an example, now we could start with having core entities like the customer or borrower, and of course the FI itself, then scope a particular package like mortgages, and then in the next iteration we add another package, like for example cards here. So we have costs for the first iterations are low and remain under control, and deliverables provide a cumulative benefit. So all education units have info cards. And it typically has the title, the front page, and then it tells like what type of format the resource has, no? PowerPoint, video, or article. And here it has the audience, no? Main and optional. So in this case here, a business or finance person. So the education path for project architects, you should first study here semantics for finance users. And this is a deep dive critical class because it explains the concept maps and how to communicate design with the users. And from there, you can move on here to the semantics for mid-sized, large, and very large banks as appropriate for your institution. And then here for modelers, semantics for data architects. Very important here, scoping a subset model from FIBO, and with that using the navigator to achieve a consistent scope faster. And finally here, the articles provide more detail. You should read them. We can discuss them because they explain how and why the ontology derived data model works. No? And for project architects, it's in particular here the article on the 15 concepts. And the introduction to FIBO, and here to understand how they relate to the ontology, ontology versus data model hierarchies, and object properties transformed to associative entities. The resources and next steps. The FIBO website has the PowerPoints for viewing and PDFs for download. It has the deep dive articles, scalable vector graphic diagrams of packages, and the subtype hierarchies. And everybody gets enough emails already, so I'm not emailing updates. No? So all news are shared and announced on the FIBO LinkedIn page. You can watch the education videos on YouTube. There's a course for FIBO. Evaluate the open source core model and upgrade to the latest 3173 entity full version. And you're welcome to ask questions or schedule a meeting. Thanks a lot.